400-year-old ancient tree black tea. What's up, everybody? Today on Tea and Tobacco, I'm going to be looking at this unique compressed black tea brick. So let's take a look. All right, so today I'm looking at this brick of black tea. It is a pure bud black tea. It's definitely speckled of black and gold tips, basically. It is called 400-year ancient tree golden buds Dian hung Yunnan gold black. And this is from spring of 2018. This is a 250-gram brick. I picked it up from Dragon Tea House. It's a pretty reasonable price. I don't know what it is. It's somewhere around 15 bucks. So I figured I'd give it a shot. What the heck? All right, so scent off the dry leaves is a bit of chocolate with a touch of vinegar and a little bit of grass. That's kind of what I get off of here. I'm using my 100 ml Gaiwan today. I have 5 grams in here, and I'm using just shy of boiling water. So let's get to it and see how it goes. I'm just going to do a very quick rinse. This tea is not, it's not really dusty, and it's not super tiny pieces or anything like that. So not a big deal. I'm going to give the first steep about 15 seconds. All right, so this brews up at a nice light honey color. There you go, you can take a look at that. It is nice and clear, and there's really like no dust in the bottom of the cup, so that's nice. The scent off of it is a sweet fruit and chocolate, like a fruit and dark chocolate. That vinegar doesn't come through. The texture-wise, it's pretty thin. Flavor is pretty light, at least on this first steeping here. There's no bitterness. Has a nice cocoa with a sweet finish. Touch of roasted grass in there as well. A touch of a coffee bean in there that I'm getting as well. So there we go on our first steeping. All right, so I'm going into the second infusion here. Again, I'm probably going to go, I'm actually gonna bump it back down to 10 seconds now that the tea is kind of opened up and it's not in a nice tight clump anymore, just because I don't want to over brew it. It's definitely brewing up darker really quickly, so I'm gonna just kind of eyeball it at the moment. Let me get the scent of the leaves here while I'm waiting for that to cool down for a second. The scent of the leaves are really there's a slight effervescence to it. Toasted grass. The cocoa note that I got on the dry leaves and in the brew doesn't come through on the nose though. Touch of honey in there too. All right, so this is definitely brewed up a bit darker on this second infusion here, even though it was only 10 seconds compared to 15 on the first. Now it's a nice golden honey color. Still nice and clear. No dust and stuff at the bottom, which is really nice. I've had some teas lately that have had a lot of sediment in the bottom even after going through the fine mesh filter. All right, now this tea is nice and open up, coming into its own. Get a nice heavy cocoa note with a touch of the coffee in there. Degrades into a slight fruity sweetness on the finish. And the body is definitely kicked up. It feels a lot thicker. And the flavor-wise is definitely a bit tighter. Also, there's a slight bitterness in there, but it's well balanced because it degrades into a nice sweetness on the finish. All right, so there we go with our second steeping. Let me show you the wet leaves here. Looks like we got a nice bud. Bud. Here we go. This looks like a 2 buds, so a bud and 1 very small leaf. So we have it's not totally pure bud, but it's mostly bud. So it's really a mix, probably 1 bud, 1 leaf for the most part. Could be like 2 buds, 1 leaf, depending on how they picked it. All right, so going into the third infusion here, I think I'm gonna bump it back out to 15 on this one instead of 10 like the second. All right, so color-wise, from the second to the third is pretty much the same. It's just a nice dark honey color. Again, flavor-wise, heavy dark chocolate. There's a touch of fruit in there, kind of like a raisin prune type of. It's very, very mild though. Still get a really fresh coffee bean note that then all kind of degrades into a sweetness on the finish. Mouthfeel is still nice and soft, but it does have decent body to it. Flavor is not super strong, but it's definitely well past medium. This is very similar to the Pure Bud black tea that I reviewed a couple weeks ago from Yunnan sourcing, the pure black from Samao or whatever it was called. I believe that's what it's called. It's very similar to that. All right, going into the fourth infusion here. This is gonna be the last one I do for you guys, but this tea can go pretty strong for quite a while. So, I mean, getting 8 out of this is definitely not a stretch by any means. And then you can go out farther if you like kind of those lighter tail end infusions that sometimes get sweeter and kind of the robustness kind of drops off. It's kind of a nice, a nice hill. It starts off light, goes heavy, and then comes down the other side. I think I can go roughly about 15, 20 on this. I didn't count, so we'll see. Again, this infusion, very similar to the last as far as the color goes. We're still looking at a nice dark honey here. Again, the flavors are still the same. Nice cocoa note, degrading into the sweetness, that touch of fruit and coffee in there. It's just a all-around very consistent tea. At least we've gone out, 4 steepings here. So there you go. That's been the 400-year ancient tree golden buds Dian Hong Yunnan black tea. You can check it out at Dragon Tea House. It's really not that expensive if you are looking for really an everyday black tea. I mean, it's cheap, 250-gram brick. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, feedback, questions down below, and I'll see you next time on Tea and Tobacco. See you guys.